that appreciation and that gratitude every single day. In fact, we are celebrating Veterans Day this year, the same week that we learned some really wonderful news. Is this embargoed, or can I say this? I think I can say this. I mean, this is amazing. This is really one of the most incredible successes of this college. For the 12th year in a row, it's a dozen years, PCC has been recognized by the Military Times for being the best, #1 college for veterans in the state of California. That's #1 in the entire state of California, the largest state in the country. And that's not a small accomplishment. These rankings are the largest and most comprehensive rankings of schools for military service members and veterans. This is the real deal. The remarkable achievement is a testament to the tireless efforts of the extraordinary team at the Veterans Resource Center, including our magnificent VRC leaders, Lisa Foster and Carol Calambra. Please stand up. Please stand up. And the entire Veterans Resource Center team. Anybody from the Veterans Resource Center, please stand up. Let's give them a big round of applause. All right. The work of our Veterans Resource Center, our Veterans Club, and the support of the entire PCC community provides a welcoming and enriching environment for our student veterans to succeed and to thrive. I don't think it's too bold to say that PCC is #1 in the universe for military veterans to learn, to work, and to achieve their educational and professional dreams. Don't laugh. I was able to confirm this morning during a conversation with our partners at JPL and Caltech. They showed me a satellite image of the planet, and the planet kept going around, and there was this one part of the planet that was just really bright. And they came all the way down. First you saw Pasadena, then you saw PCC, and then you saw the Veterans Resource Center. So congratulations for that. We're going to put that on our website. So this Veterans Day, I want to reaffirm PCC's commitment to our veterans here at PCC, but not just here at PCC, also in the communities that we serve. Thank you for answering the call to service. On behalf of your country and all of us, we are eternally grateful. Thank you. Got a little confused by my notes there. Who's next? Oh, it's you. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dr. Gomez. Before we move further, I'd like to do a little roll call and see who we have here with us today. So if you are here, please sound off. So all my soldiers, if you are here. All my sailors, where you at?
Let's go!
My coasties. There we go, we got one. Air Force.
Oh no!
Yeah. And I don't know if we have any Guardians. I don't think we have any Guardians. But I heard a few of us are celebrating a birthday here soon. So where are my Marines at? There you go. So as veterans, we all come from an unusual background that very few can relate to. Working on multi-million-dollar equipment, to working on fighter jets, to working on helicopters, and maybe even tanks. They say it takes a college degree flat plane. If you join the military with a high school diploma, you get to work on one. But most of us, we did this as teenagers, right out of high school. But maybe you're a motor team operating and working on these. Or maybe you're a culinary specialist, preparing meals for thousands of military personnel. Or maybe you're an AO, loading bombs onto aircraft. Or maybe you're also laying some rounds downrange. You served on missions all over the world. Some of you were in Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Kuwait, Vietnam, or maybe even Japanistan. But now we're on a different kind of mission, a mission to pursue a higher education. We have so many vets here pursuing all different kinds of career paths. And we're lucky to have an amazing school like PCC to offer so many different opportunities. With the skills being acquired in the military, along with education here from PCC and wherever else we transfer to next, we will continue to make a difference in our communities and wherever else we go to next. We might have gotten our DD-214s, but we are not done serving. We are the future in science, business, education, healthcare, and engineering, and so on. There are so many people here with amazing stories, amazing future. Our success come from those that people have. I would like to introduce you to someone who's an amazing example of what it means to be a veteran and the future that we have. This person will be our main speaker for today. He is a Vietnam veteran and a professor here at PCC, Professor Doc Martin.
All right, at ease. So, fellow anti-vaxxers, flat earthers, and election deniers, I would ordinarily say good morning, but I'm not sure that that's entirely appropriate. However, I can say morning. I'm going to deviate just for a second to promote an event because otherwise I'd forget to do it. Promote an event that's taking place next, I think you can all read that, right? Next Thursday, a week from today at Caltech, and it's a program called Leadership Pasadena's focus on veterans, but specifically veterans and the city of Pasadena over the years. So it's a kind of a historical perspective. Anyway, it's at Caltech at 1800. It's at 6 o'clock in the evening for the rest of you non-military people. All right, so yeah, if you can, it's just down the street. You can walk to it. It's not even a freeway close. All right, well, I did not expect to talk to anybody here today in the sense that I wasn't sure I'd even show up for this ceremony. I already passed on one veteran ceremony this morning, and so at any rate, this is not an AI-generated speech, and it was not developed on a computer or anything, because if it were, there'd be all kinds of underlining and scoring saying inappropriate, you may want to rephrase this differently, there is better language or something. I didn't get any of that as I wrote this out, so here it goes. So it's rather extemporaneous. Like I said, I found out about a half hour ago that I would be speaking. So if there are any complaints, well, you know what you can do with them. What do you want from me? I'm only human. Okay. As we used to say in Vietnam, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So I put aside whatever my feelings or mood were an hour ago and step up, right? As a psychologist, there's certainly other topics besides Veterans Day on my mind. One of them is cognitive dissonance. My need to somehow reconcile my love for this country with the fact that my country had way too many people vote for fascism. And this is Veterans Day as a partisan event. I don't see this as a partisan statement. Some of the leading generals of the United States Army and the U.S. Marine Corps have said that the person was elected as a fascist. So as Bill Murray said in the movie Stripes, it's just a fact, Jack. All right, so yeah, I'd rather be talking about things like resilience, coping mechanisms, and steeling yourself and not giving way to despair or anxiety or depression. I was trying to find some good that came out of this election, and so far the only thing I could come up with is we're not going to have a civil war after all. All those individuals, and I use the word way too correctly or appropriately, all those individuals who stockpiled automatic or semi-automatic weapons and billions of rounds of ammunition during the Obama years can simply put them back in the bunker or bury them back in the backyard again. It's not going to happen. So I guess that's good, right? I mean, certainly that's good. Well, today was known as Armistice Day, and simply because there was an armistice that took place, 11th hour, 11th day, 11th month, 1918, ending not just World War I, they didn't know it was World War I, they couldn't see the future, but ending what they call the Great War. They felt incredibly high, because they believed that they had fought a war to end all wars. So that's a hell of a thing to think that you fought for. Over the years, Armistice Day was celebrated as a day of peace. So among the many veterans organizations that I'm a life member of, one of them is Veterans for Peace. And I'm as proud to be in that organization as the Combat Infantryman Badge Association or Veterans of Foreign Wars. People that have been to war have ended up hating war. The medals and ribbons that you see on people's chests oftentimes are grim reminders of days and times when people got really hurt, when people got killed, and some of the unhappiest days in a person's life. So they're not just a beautiful way to accessorize an otherwise drab uniform. They mean much more than that. It morphed from a day of peace commemoration and armistice to one where we honor all veterans. And obviously that's fine. We should honor veterans. Many people deserve honors in our society, and certainly veterans are maybe at the front of the ranks. What can we say, right? What can we say about veterans? There's a saying that it's appropriate. It says that while everyone gave something, there were some who gave it all, who gave everything. And we're thinking in terms of risking their lives and losing their lives. But there are also blown out knees, bad spines, fractures, traumatic brain injuries that don't go away. That's a lot of sacrifice. They're mostly men over the years, and now the armed forces have gladly embraced women in their ranks. In fact, it's not just a matter of being woke. The armed forces could not function without the contributions of women in our society. And so we welcome the opportunity to acknowledge and thank women for their veteran service as well. Well, what can we say about, what more can we say about these veterans? First of all, anybody who fought in a war was not responsible for starting it. So we're blameless. We're off the hook. Don't pin any. We may be responsible for the victories, but we certainly, none of the young men and women that served ever started these conflicts that they got caught up in. You'll probably get nowhere asking a veteran about the broader issues of war. In the Vietnam War, afterward, of all the generals that served in the Army, the majority of them said after the war they had no idea what the Vietnam War was about. So if people at flag rank can't tell you, far be it for someone who's in their early 20s to talk to you about whether Iraq was a war for oil or whether Afghanistan was a war for women's rights. We don't know, all right? We do know this, though. We know what war is like from the standpoint of feeling trapped in something where there's no real escape. We know something about adverse conditions, about bad weather, about injuries. We know something about homesickness, about loneliness, about the camaraderie that we shared and enjoyed with those around us. We know, quite a bit of really raunchy and inappropriate jokes that we picked up along the way. So if you want to ask us about that, we're pretty much experts in those domains. But for the causes of the wars that we served in, all you're doing is just, well, you're going down a rabbit hole. You can ask how people feel about it, in retrospect, but not the causation. None of us veterans caused any of the wars that we served in. A lot of money, a lot of energy, effort, thought is put into transforming well-meaning civilians and well-intentioned young people into functioning, highly functioning servicemen and servicewomen. On the flip side, not nearly as much energy is expended on transforming and returning a person back to society. And that's why, as President Gomez mentioned, it's particularly to the credit of this community that a lot of energy is spent on helping folks make it back, along that road back. A lot are not successful. The vast majority are, but they need help. The United States instituted something called the GI Bill and funded a Veterans Administration, a cabinet level position, in order to help veterans make the transition. But not all of them are equally successful. And so we know that after wars, there are often many more suicides of those that served in those conflicts than were actually lost in the course of those conflicts themselves. And those are losses that we cannot tolerate. We may be able to accept losses in warfare because it was necessary to accomplish the mission. There's no need to do anything less than be supportive and helpful in a meaningful way those that came back. I'd say on the plus side, veterans are respected and served much better than, I think most of the guys behind me were Vietnam veterans. I'm preaching to the choir back here. I hope so. I think I am. To say that we weren't supported when we came back would be a real understatement. I remember being a student, you didn't let your classmates know that you had been in the Vietnam War. And maybe you also were advised not to tell your employers or your coworkers either. I worked with a guy 9 years who'd been in the same unit as me in Vietnam, and we didn't know it for 9 years. It's just something you didn't talk about, you didn't acknowledge, and you didn't expect any recognition for it except maybe a boo or fruit thrown at you or something like that. Poor me. Anyway, but thankfully, luckily, times have changed, right? And so we are giving the recognition and respect that is rightfully there. Times do change, wars change, the faces, the gender of the people that fight in them has changed. What doesn't change is your central nervous system. It's still the same brain that's impacted by experiences, memories that you'd like to forget but can't. I go to reunions in my unit in Vietnam, and I'll share with you one individual's situation. He remembers getting on a plane going to Vietnam. He remembers the day getting off a plane on his return. He remembers not one thing of his entire tour in Vietnam. Nothing. It's now 50 years later. He has still no memory of what happened there. So when he shows up at our reunions, he's interested in meeting people that might have been his friends that he doesn't recognize. He's interested in events and having photographs that he has explained to him because he has no recollection of it. Again, like I said, that was a long time ago, but even in current situations, there are things which we cannot remember that we would want to, things that we cannot forget that we wish would be suppressed. So I guess we could say that this individual who shows up at reunions, perhaps he's fortunate. Perhaps that's his unconscious way of protecting him. It's also the same heart that can be broken, the same emotions that can be shut down and sometimes stuck in ways that you can't rekindle or reopen that you would like to. On the good side, there is always hope, And there's more and more hope as methods and assistance gets more sophisticated in getting people unstuck so that they can move forward. We get thanked for our service, but as Eric said, the service isn't over. Just because you got an ETS, a time of separation, and you got a DD form, 214 form, establishing that you're out. You're not out. The fight isn't over. The Patriots' fight for his or her country is never over. We have to resist any kind of tendency to avoid issues or to give up or give ourselves over to despair. It's our country. We served in it, we fought for it, and our country is always going to need us. It doesn't have to be a dramatic fight. Serve on jury duty, vote, assist people that are voting. Assist them how? Well, help leading and guiding the ways where they can get informed, right? You can serve on committees in your community. There's over 1,000 nonprofit organizations in the city of Pasadena. They all need board members in order to function. What if people don't volunteer? A lot of us took the oath, we volunteered. We know what it means to serve. Your service is still waiting for you, and it's still needed. And it's always needed, right? So, it may be awkward to be thanked for your service. I know some of us may feel that. The first time somebody thanked me for service, I thought, well, what new low are they reaching for now? What kind of an insult is that? It was hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that people could be genuinely thanking me for my service. But I want to genuinely thank you for your services. And I also want to, as I said before, just remind you what you already know. It doesn't end. It never ends, and you have to continue to serve. Like I said, I wasn't sure I'd be here today, and I got some encouraging remarks as I was working on my speech, if you can call it that, in the parking lot. And somebody said, "Oh, you're used to that. You can talk. You're very glib or whatever. But the difficulty is that." That's all true, but the difficulty is in those other occasions and moments, I don't feel broken, and therefore it is different for me today. But as I said before, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. You hang in there, and your country doesn't need anybody to quit on it, and least of all those of us that have served. So with that being said, if there are any questions, I'm just kidding, I don't want any questions. That being said, that concludes my remarks today. It's been a great joy for me to be here at PCC, not just today, but every day. And it's a great joy for me to be surrounded by veterans. It's labor of love sounds really trite, but the bottom line is I identify with them and respect them, and it's nice to be around people that get it, right? All right, so drive on, never quit, never surrender, never swallow any bullshit. Just keep on driving on. Martin out.